Was the infamous spring-heeled Jack a product of mass hysteria? Surely, as a devil creature, he could see in the blackness of night. But could he see why kids love the taste of Cinnamon Toast Crunch? Stick around and you might just find out the answers to these questions on this episode of Unsolved Mysteries. Solved! Welcome back to the only podcast where two PhD holders solve the world's greatest mysteries. It is Saturday yet again, and that means we have a brand new mystery coming at you. I am your ever humble host and PhD in solving unsolved mysteries, Chad Kimmons. With me as always is my co-host,
Cassandra Cherry, right here.
Today is a very special episode because we have a special guest straight from the UK and the YouTube channel Hey Denpy. Please welcome Dan.
Hi guys.
I don't know why I said welcome Dan. Like they're like at home, they're just going, "Hey, welcome to the show!" Clap, clap, clap.
Steps out from behind a curtain. Everyone's going, "Wah, wah," waving like the Miss America wave.
Dance with the host a little bit, like it's a late night show.
Yeah, Ellen DeGeneres.
Right. Dan, why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and what you do?
So, as you mentioned, my podcast, my YouTube channel, Hey Dimpy. Basically, it's going to be, if I end up with half the quality you guys put into your episodes, I'll be grateful at that because love listening to your episode.
Well, first off, it's great to have you on the show, Dan.
Thank you, buddy.
How much do you guys know about Spring-Heeled Jack?
I first heard of Spring-Heeled Jack when I watched a program. Have you ever heard of Luther? It's a UK TV show.
Yes, I actually really like Luther. I'm sad they took it off Netflix.
Aw.
Not for us. So there you go.
Well,
but
okay then.
No, it's a good show. And in one of the episodes, a guy basically puts on a mask and does loads of weird shit. Probably a bit more, takes things to another level from the stories I've been reading about Spring-Heeled Jack. But basically alludes to the fact of why he does it behind the mask is he's where he puts Spring-Heeled Jack on a pedestal and sees him as kind of like his reason for doing exactly what he does. He's an interesting guy, Spring-Heeled Jack. He's got a good leap on him. So
yeah, as we'll talk about. I mean, he leaps over like 10-foot fences and stuff.
Yeah, my biggest experience with Spring-Heeled Jack was trying to fight him in the Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
Oh,
that
yes.
was the most annoying chase.
I thought you meant in real life.
No.
All right, well, I guess let's just go ahead and dive right in here. So, Spring-Heeled Jack is an entity in English folklores of the Victorian era. The first claimed sighting was in September of 1837. Now, the early sightings are all like based in London, but they range all over the place, as you'll see. Like apparently there were sightings in Scotland and stuff too. He was described by many people as having like a diabolical, frightful appearance, clawed hands, red eyes that resembled red balls of fire. There was one report that claimed that he had this black cloak on and he wore a helmet with like a tight-fitting white, almost like an oilskin, and a lot of tales say that he was almost like devil-like, but they say that he was very tall and thin, kind of resembled a gentleman. Honestly, like as I was reading through this and doing the research, I was thinking it just sounds like Jack the Ripper, but if he could jump over 12-foot fences and never actually killed anyone.
Yeah.
Like, because they talk about his victims and his attacks and stuff, but he never actually killed anyone.
Yeah.
Nah, he's just an imp. Yeah.
Anyway, the first sighting of him was in London in 1837 in September. A businessman was returning home late one night. He'd just gotten off work, and he said that he was suddenly shocked as this mysterious figure jumped with ease over a considerably high railing of a cemetery and landed right in his path. He wasn't attacked, but the description he gave was of a muscular human male with devilish features, including large, pointed ears and nose, and a protruding jawline and glowing eyes. 1 month later, in October of 1837, a girl by the name of Mary Stevens was walking to Lavender Hill, where she was working as a servant. She had been visiting her parents in Battersea. On her way through Clapham Common, a strange figure leapt at her from a dark alley. He immobilized her with a tight grip on her arms and began to kiss her face.
Romantic?
Very romantic.
Right, yeah. He's ever the romantic, the Spring-Heeled Jack.
Yeah, I can imagine him clobbering her to death with his massive jaw. Like, I'm just imagining... Have you ever watched Timmy Turner and the Fairly Odd Parents?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like that one superhero, the chin guy.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't he called the Chin?
I think so. The Cleft? I don't know.
I don't know.
Something like that.
See, I'm imagining like almost like the pointy goatee, but that's just his chin.
His chin is like a stiletto heel on his face
That's
with hair.
Well, because the pictures, that's kind of how he's portrayed, is like having this like very angular face and like a pointed chin. So that's just what I've got in my mind.
What if Spring-Heeled Jack was just a member of Anonymous? Because you know the Guy Fawkes masks? That's kind of what it sounds like.
Oh, yeah, it does kind of look like that a little bit, because he does have like the...
No, you've touched upon that. We better not put this episode out, because I don't want to with Anonymous.
No one fucks with Anonymous.
It's okay. We're not fucking with him. We're just mentioning.
Can we add a
them.
disclaimer that whatever you do, we just mentioned it. We're just giving you airtime, really. That's
we have no problem with Anonymous. Great people. Keep doing what you're doing, I guess.
Expect us.
Oh God, where were we?
He was being very romantic with this lady.
Oh yeah, he was kissing her face. That's right.
Yeah, with his chin.
Then he ripped her clothes, and this is straight from Wikipedia, and touched her flesh with his claws, which were, according to her, cold and clammy as if he were a corpse.
It's not specific when it just says flesh. Where did he touch her? Her head? Her toe?
I don't know.
Show us on the doll where he touched you.
Yeah.
Right? It just says that he ripped her clothes and touched her flesh.
They're being very polite about it.
Now, obviously, Miss Stevens was very panicked, and she screamed, and he quickly fled the scene. And all of the commotion brought several residents out of their homes who immediately launched a search for the guy, but they couldn't find him. Man, there are a lot of similarities to this, as with like Jack the Ripper, though, because like
mysteriously appears, mysteriously disappears.
Right, like nobody's really seen him except those who've been attacked.
What if he's Jack the Ripper's son?
He'd be his dad, wouldn't he?
Yeah, because Jack the Ripper was
1888.
Oh, later?
Yeah, in the 80s, the 1880s. It was in the 1980s. So the next day, this leaping character is said to have chosen a different victim near Mary Stevens' home. He jumped in the way of this passing carriage, and the coachman lost control, crashed, severely injured himself. And several witnesses claimed that he escaped by jumping over a 9-foot, or for our guest, 2.7 meter high wall while cackling with a high-pitched ringing laughter. Like, gradually the news of this guy just started to spread around, and they gave him the name Spring-Heeled Jack. Can I ask I don't think it's offensive, but I have a question.
It's already offensive, isn't it?
If you have to preface it, it's already offensive. What is it with the name Jack in the UK? Like the Union Jack, Jack the Ripper, Spring-Heeled Jack, like...
I was just thinking that when you mentioned the connection to Jack the Ripper. I don't know, maybe you just cursed if you called Jack. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's like being called Karen nowadays.
Yeah. So Jack was just an early Karen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Back in the 1800s, somebody just decided to start calling everything bad Jack.
Can you imagine Spring-Heeled Jack walking into a store and asking to see the manager?
Gets angry and starts jumping over the shop.
Jumps over the shelves to the back.
I think the answer to that would be that it's just a common name, because we both Jack the Ripper and Spring-Heeled Jack. They're never actually confirmed to be called that. They're just given that name.
Right.
So I think just as in it could have easily been Spring-Heeled John.
Right. Well, I was just thinking that, it's like our John Doe and Jane Doe that they...
Yeah.
Jack's cooler.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Spring-Heeled Jack just rolls off the tongue. It works.
Yeah, it does.
Well, anyway, a few months after the first sightings, the Lord Mayor of London, Sir John Cowan, he was holding a public session in the Mansion House, and he revealed that he had received an anonymous complaint.
Anonymous?
Yes.
They brought up.
Not from Anonymous, just...
They did it.
Yeah. Expect us. We're going to come take care of this motherfucker.
Yeah.
But he had received this anonymous complaint several days earlier, and he had withheld it, hoping to get further information before he had to reveal, what was going on. And it read as follows. It appears that some individuals have laid a wager with a mischievous and foolhardy companion that he durst not take upon himself the task of visiting many of the villages near London in 3 different disguises, a ghost, a bear, and a devil. And moreover, that he will not enter a gentleman's gardens for the purpose of alarming the inmates of the house. The wager has, however, been accepted, and the unmanly villain has succeeded in depriving 7 ladies of their senses, 2 of whom are not likely to recover, but to become burdens to their families. At one house, the man rang the bell, and on the servant coming to open the door, this worse-than brute stood in no less dreadful figure than a spectre clad most perfectly. The consequence was that the poor girl immediately swooned, and has never from that moment been in her senses. The affair has now been going on for some time, and strange to say, the papers are still silent on the subject. The writer has reason to believe that they have the whole history at their finger ends, but through interested motives are induced to remain silent. So, what I'm getting from this is a lot of sexism.
Yeah, a lot of rape too.
Poor woman, she saw a creature that she couldn't comprehend, and she's just out of her mind. Her feeble woman mind just couldn't handle it.
Oh dear, she's going to need to go for the doctor for hysterics.
We've not even thought of the possibility of maybe he's just really ugly.
Yeah.
It's like, man, if you saw that guy's face, you'd be hysterical too.
But what I'm getting from this is that the writer of this is saying that someone decided to, there was a bet, and someone bet them that they wouldn't do these things, and they were like, all right, f*** you, I'm doing it. And,
we've all been there.
Yeah.
Right.
College.
And, it's just a really interesting letter. I just love the consequence was the poor girl immediately swooned and has never from that moment been in her senses.
Oh, I mean, that would be, frightening. You just open your door, you think it's the milkman. Psych! It's Spring-Heeled Jack with the devil's face and, claws for hands.
Right.
Yeah, like Edward Scissorhands, but with,
Not Johnny Depp at your door.
Yeah. Oh, bless Johnny Depp. Oh, he's been through so much.
So the Lord Mayor he was really skeptical, but a member of the audience that was there actually said that, this is a quote, servant girls about Kensington, Hammersmith, and Ealing were telling dreadful stories about this ghost or devil character. It was reported in the Times on January 9th and other national papers on January 10th. And then on the day after that, the Lord Mayor showed a crowded gathering, a pile of letters from various places in and around London complaining of similar, quote, wicked pranks. And apparently he was getting just an absurd amount of letters. They were saying that a lot of the sightings, there would be 3 or 4 a day in parts of the town where it would be almost impossible for him to have gotten from one place to the other in time. And one writer said that several young women in Hammersmith had been frightened into, quote, dangerous fits, and some, quote, severely wounded by a sort of claws that the miscreant wore on his hands. There again, the sexism. Dangerous fits.
Well,
what's a dangerous fit, though, is my question.
Violent maybe? I don't know.
Well, shit, like you said, she just saw the devil at her doorstep. I'd be getting violent, too.
Yeah,
honey,
seriously.
Get the goddamn baseball bat, we're going hunting.
Yeah, but also, on a read from, the language of the times, it sounds like this is a series of rapes, legitimately. They don't like to say it like that, because that would be rude and too crude to publish, but that's what it sounds like.
I don't know, going by myths and the way they portray history, I think the stories only get worse with people like this as it goes through time, so I think they'd be happy to say that.
Yeah. Also, question, Do you guys have fraternities over in the UK?
Not really. No, we don't have
Okay.
fraternities. No.
Because if this was in the US, I'd be like, okay, so this is a fraternity who all decided to get the same costume and to just run amok.
Right.
Do you know what I've just thought? Sorry, just to interrupt. I've just thought of an
No, you're
episode
good.
for my channel. That's we'll definitely do a UK and a UK versus US. You'll win on the fraternities front, though. Are they actually as cool as make them seem in the movies?
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Yeah.
that's awful. Oh, I'm so annoyed.
They can
You're
be.
good.
There's the city that I live in. They actually had to, a couple of years ago, shut down all the fraternities because there was so much rape and date rape and sexual assaults. And
Yeah.
It's Spring Hill Jack.
It is Spring Hill Jack.
it was specifically these two fraternities, but it was happening so much at those two that they just shut down all the fraternities and sororities. And
Dang.
I think they
Hell.
just last year, I think they finally allowed the fraternities and sororities to start back up on the condition that if any of this happened ever again, everybody in the fraternity that it happened at would be expelled permanently, even if they were not a part of it. Like,
What's the idea of the fraternity? Because I get it from a student point of view. I 100% get why they would want to do that. I'd be confused. I'm more confused. Better people wouldn't want to do that. But from a college point of view,
they originally started as a way to network, like back in the I want to say like the early 1900s, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because if you were a part of, and it still does to this day, hold some sway, but if you were a part of, like the biggest fraternity in the nation, that would open doors for you.
yeah.
Like,
People in high places who were brothers in the fraternity will look and see that you're a brother and be like, oh, you're part of the same cult? Fantastic.
Isn't that how colleges should work anyway, though?
It's a little bit different because it's more than the college, because fraternities and sororities span across multiple colleges across the US. They have different chapters in different colleges. So even if you went to, say, MSU, if you were part of like Phi Beta Kappa and you met a person who was Phi Beta Kappa but from CSU, then you'd be like, oh, sister or brother. I don't know if that's a fraternity or a sorority. I just spat letters.
Is there a lot of animosity between fraternities?
not really. No, I mean,
Depends.
Oh, because I thought there'd be like a rivalry that could maybe.
some places, like, they'll play pranks on each other and stuff, and
Oh, yeah.
sometimes it can get out of hand.
Oh, yeah. It'll depend on the college and the chapters involved.
Okay.
For the most part, I don't really think that there's like you're in the wrong fraternity type of thing,
No, but they definitely have a, oh, you're a tridelt? sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
And then there's the joke that everybody always uses, the Kappa Kappa Kappas.
Yeah, that's real bad. Don't want to use that one.
So the Lord Mayor, he had two different thoughts on this. He thought that the most outlandish stories had been made up, but he also thought that it was quite possible that, quote, that the ghost performs the feats of a devil upon earth, which I don't know what that even means. I don't know if he's saying like, hey, it's a ghost, or if he's just calling the person a ghost. But on the other hand, someone he trusted had told him of a servant girl at Forest Hill who had been scared into fits by a figure in a bear's skin, and he was confident that the person or persons involved in this would be caught and punished, and the police were instructed to search for the person that was responsible, and rewards were offered.
A bear skin.
Yeah,
So you just like cut a bear, skinned it, and wore it to like freak out this girl?
I guess. I
I
mean,
bet they were neighbors.
I don't know.
I don't know, I'm just imagining this one just sort of asshole just being like, oh yeah, this'll scare Karen. Serves her right for like reporting me to the manager.
I just want to point out that it doesn't say that her name was Karen.
Probably was, though. Probably was.
Like Jack.
I hear that like 50% of girls on the earth are named Karen now.
Yeah.
That's just facts.
It's true, I'm verifying it. You can't argue.
There was a peculiar report from the Brighton Gazette, appeared in the paper on April 14th, 1838 in the Times, and it said that like this gardener in Rose Hill, Sussex, had been terrified by a creature of unknown nature. And the Times wrote that Spring-Heeled Jack has, it seems, found his way to the Sussex coast. Even though the report bore little resemblance to other accounts of Jack. The incident occurred on the 13th of April when this shape or figure appeared to the gardener. He said it looked like a bear or some other four-footed animal, and my, reading this, my thing is, so he saw a bear.
Yeah.
And, I don't know how, are bears common in the UK?
To my knowledge, we don't have bears in the UK.
No bears?
No.
At all?
No bears.
Oh.
Okay. Well, if there's no bears in the UK, then yeah, this would be a little weird.
Yeah,
but the fact that there's
You're saying things like this, and I'm like, there's no bears here, there's no bears. No. Might seem strange, there's no bears. No.
Just gonna have to paddle boat over to Norway to get a bear.
All I'm trying to say is if you're trying to fit in the UK, don't dress up as a bear. There's none around.
Gosh.
Either way, I mean, if bears are not a commonplace, animal over there, then yeah, this would be a little suspect. But still, the fact that they're like, "Oh, you saw a bear? You said it looked like it must have been Spring-Heeled Jack. Had to have been. And the guy's just like, no, it was just a bear. I'm just telling you because we need to take care of this. I don't know where it came from." And they're like, "No, it's definitely."
Did it escape a zoo?
That's the only place you'll see a bear, by the way. I'm just confirming for you now. The only place you'll see a bear is in the zoo. That's it.
Oh, in the zoo. I thought you were saying in Sussex.
In Sussex. No. That's the only place where bears
Well, then there
native.
are bears in the UK, but they're in the Sussex.
Yeah, they're in zoos and they're all looked after. Do these when you name these places, do they mean anything to you when you say Sussex or?
I might have seen them in a show.
Okay.
I have a vague understanding of the
Geography?
UK geography.
To be fair though, I didn't believe that New York or San Francisco were real places until I was 12, because I'd only ever seen them on TV.
That's understandable because, well...
Yeah, so that's the same way for everywhere else in the world. Yeah.
My vague understanding of British geography is about the same as if, I don't know, if you were to take somebody from, just an average person from the UK and say, here's a map of the United States, put the states in the right place. They might be able to get all the states right, but they probably wouldn't be in the right spots.
I think you're overestimating people from the UK. I really think you do. I think that probably there's often a game where people just try to attempt to name as many states as they can. I'm telling you now that I think that majority of people could... we actually played a couple of weeks ago when I was at work. You
Nice.
could probably get... I think we wrote down about 20. So if we're guessing where they are, I think we would really, really struggle.
Right.
Get confused between Arkansas and Arkansas.
I know about Arkansas for one reason, for the Clintons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's it.
I don't know about Hillary. No, Hillary's from New York. But Bill is from Arkansas, from Little Rock, I think.
I always thought she was from Arkansas. Words, Kansas.
Maybe.
Jeez, now I'm confused.
No, that's right. She was a senator from New York, but that's because they lived in New York at the time.
Mm-hmm. Tangents.
Okay, so after growling at the gardener and getting his attention, I'm just going to call it a bear. The bear climbed the garden wall and ran along it on all fours before jumping down and chasing the gardener for some time. So maybe it wasn't a bear. Maybe it was like a wild cat. Do you have those over there?
Bobcats, cougars.
I'm making
Lynx.
us seem really boring now. We don't, I'm afraid. No wildcats.
Man, you don't have dangerous wildlife.
No, we'll change this episode into you asked me creatures that may or may not be from here. That's a better
Are there
idea.
kangaroos in the UK?
Lots of them everywhere. You can't move the kangaroos. They're everywhere.
Oh, that's... I remember reading about that when you guys sent the prisoners to Australia, you sent some kangaroos with
It's
them.
a massive epidemic right now. We're actually discussing in every town, every city, how we can deal with the mass overload of kangaroos.
Oh yeah, I hear they're an invasive species.
Oh, yeah.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Worse than mongoose.
Do not even tell me about what's plural? Mongoose? Is that right?
Mongeeson? Mongai?
We got loads of them. Everywhere. Everywhere.
Okay, so anyway, it scared him and ran along the fence on all fours, as bears do.
Yeah.
And after just completely terrifying the gardener, this creature scaled the wall and ran off. Now, the best known of all of the alleged incidents involving Spring Heel Jack were the attacks on 2 teenage girls. Their names were Lucy Scales and Jane Alsop. The Alsop report was covered by a lot of newspapers. There was a piece in the Times. It was everywhere. There were fewer reports about the Scales, but we will talk about both of them. Jane Alsop reported that on the night of February 19th, 1838, she answered the door of her father's house to a man claiming to be a police officer, and he told her to bring a light, claiming that they had caught Spring Heel Jack on that street. So she brought a candle and noticed that he was wearing a large cloak, and the moment she handed him the candle, he threw off the cloak and, quote, presented a most hideous and frightful appearance, vomiting blue and white flame from his mouth, while his eyes resembled red balls of fire.
So he flashed her while doing all that?
It doesn't say.
That's what I was imagining.
I think that's just you. I didn't imagine that at all.
You realize that people typically wear cloaks over their normal clothes, right, Cassandra?
Yeah, we don't... Even me, I often wear a jumper or a jacket, and to people's surprise, I wear a t-shirt as well. It's not unusual.
It must be so cold. Where I'm at right now, it's 98 degrees. That sounds
I don't have them all on at
so
once.
cold.
And what you've got to remember is it's 9 o'clock at night here now.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What gets me is the blue and white flame from his mouth, and all I can think is maybe this was a circus performer and he's just spitting flame, like a flamethrower person, or a flame. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The more I thought about this, the more I thought that this is going to be clearly that even the first time I ever heard of Spring Heel Jack, I was kind of like, this is just going to be someone who's running around doing silly little pranks. And then I read about the fire. I was like, okay, maybe this isn't as straightforward as I thought.
Right.
Yeah,
Because the average person, you can't do that. Again, that's
true.
Even in the UK, again, we can't do that. We can't do that
Even
at
in
all.
the UK.
Yeah, even in the UK. There's a few bears that can do it, but other than that, no.
Oh my god. We know that you Yanks believe that we all spit fire and we're 12 feet tall, but let me tell you, that's not the case.
So you read my mind.
I want to spit blue flames. Those are hot.
Think about it, though. He might have been some kind of circus performer or whatever, because he had her bring him a candle first.
I didn't even think of that.
Is he guzzling gasoline?
It doesn't have to be gasoline. You can do it with just high proof alcohol. I've seen it done.
Vodka.
It's gotta be higher proof than that, Everclear.
I feel like
type
she's
stuff.
just naming alcohol that she's interested in.
It's just like vodka.
Yeah, that's just random. It's a coincidence. It fell in with a line with a story.
Right.
Plum wine. Putting that out there.
I didn't know I could do it. I just randomly just came out.
Just randomly burped and there was flame.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the Americans were right. We do spit fire. Anyway, Miss Alsop reported that he wore a large helmet and that his clothing... It's every time they mention the helmet, I just think of Evel Knievel for some reason.
I'm imagining a bicycle helmet, being so referred to it actually as a helmet.
Right. And I don't know. But she reported that he was wearing a large helmet and that his clothing was very tight-fitting and resembled, again, a white oilskin. And he didn't say anything, but he grabbed her and started tearing her gown off with his claws, which she was certain were, quote, of some metallic substance. She screamed for help and managed to get away from him and ran towards the house, and he caught her on the steps and tore her neck and arms with his claws, and she was rescued by one of her sisters, after which the figure, Jack, whatever, ran away.
Yeah, that's spooky. I'd be violently hysterical.
Yeah.
I'd go insane like everyone else did.
Oh,
Shit,
yeah.
man,
Put us in the sanitarium.
I remember walking down a dark alley downtown here in this city after coming out of a bar once. A homeless guy asked me for change and it scared the shit out of me just because it didn't know he was there. So imagine being like attacked in your own home. So then 9 days later, on February 28th, 18-year-old Lucy Scales and her sister were coming home after visiting their brother. Lucy stated in her deposition to the police that as she and her sister were going down Green Dragon Alley, they saw a person standing in an angle of the passageway. And she was walking in front of her sister at the time. Just as she came up to the person, he spurted a quantity of blue flame in her face, which deprived her of sight and alarmed her so much that she instantly dropped to the ground and was seized with violent fits, which continued for several hours.
Fair.
The bit that we glossed over then, did you say Green Dragon Alley?
Yes.
Who did that? Who called it that? You're
I don't
asking
know.
for trouble, I'm sorry.
I have no idea.
Green dragons are cursed, dude.
It's do you know what's interesting as well? That whenever you see it in movies or anything like that, it's always red flames, not blue flames. So I think you're onto something when you say he could have used something to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like the most, completely disregarding anything paranormal. Because we try to stay away from paranormal on this podcast. That's like the only explanation, really. Assuming that it's true.
You said metallic as well when referring to his claws, so that would that would also imply that it is some kind of metal, so it's rather man-made rather than actually being a claw.
Right. Well,
So
I forgot to mention this earlier. What I'm imagining is like, I'm gonna say a thing, and you guys are probably gonna be like, "You're dumb. No, we've never done that." But like, you remember like as a kid how you would put like butter knives or whatever between your fingers and pretend you were Wolverine?
No.
See, I told you guys wouldn't be able to.
for once, the kid from the UK gets it. I understand. I get it. I can understand why you do that, and I'm pretty sure at some point I've done that. I used to have really my mum once brought me for Christmas really big Hulk hands, so I get it.
Nice.
I get it.
See, I just pretend to be an elven archer.
Okay.
And I would like shoot down the colossi from Shadow of the Colossus.
Well, that's what I'm imagining though. Is he's just got knives between his fingers, like.
He's just Edward Scissorhanding it up.
or Wolverine.
Yeah.
Or Wolverine.
Her brother, Lucy's brother, when he was questioned, said that he had heard the screams of one of his sisters, and like moments after they had left his house. And when he got to Green Dragon Alley, he found his sister Lucy on the ground in a fit.
It's so close to Diagon Alley.
Yeah. Next door.
And then Hagrid came out. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
You're a wizard, Lucy.
God.
And Lucy Scales. That doesn't seem like a real name. Apologies to any of the Scales family out there. But I've not heard of Scales as a surname before.
There's a very small chance that Lucy Scales' descendants are listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
But if they are, we apologize for making fun of your
There's
name.
also a chance then that Springfield Jack's descendants are listening, so we got to be fair on both sides.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
You were about to say something?
Oh, I was just imagining that Lucy Scales, Green Dragon Alley.
Oh, yeah.
Polymorphed dragon? Suspicious there. She's just an immortal.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he when he got there, he found Lucy on the ground, and her sister was attempting to like support her. She was taken home, and then he learned from his other sister what had happened, and she described the assailant as being tall, thin, and of gentlemanly appearance, covered in a large cloak, carrying a small lamp or bullseye lantern similar to those used by the police. So he's got a flame. He could be spitting fire.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Dropping the next rap track. The new year.
Innovator.
God damn it.
Yeah.
He didn't speak or try
Trying to
to
get the Mercury Award.
The Mercury Award?
I don't know if I can say words right. But yeah, Mercury Award. That's like a prestigious award in the UK, yeah?
Yeah, you got it.
Oh.
See?
Okay.
See? I know culture.
I didn't know that. Look, all I know is that your biggest export is Benedict Cumberbatch.
I'm a big fanboy, so I love Benedict Cumberbatch.
And you're forgetting Martin Freeman. He's right up there with them.
I also love Cumberbund. Martin Freeman, Idris Elba is another.
Again, Martin Freeman, big fan of his.
The figure didn't speak or try to touch them, but he walked away quickly. And every effort was made by the police to discover his identity, and lots of people were questioned, but they were all set free. So the Times reported the attack on Jane Alsop on March 2nd, 1838, and this was followed with an account of the trial of a person named Thomas Milbank, who immediately after the attack was reported on her, had boasted in the Morgan's Arms that he was Spring-Heeled Jack. Which I don't know why you would boast about something like that. Like, you know you're going to get in trouble.
Yeah. He just wanted the clout.
This always confuses me when people own up to things like this. It's, what are you really getting out of this? I don't understand why you're benefiting from claiming to be this person.
Right, and like, I mean, with serial killers, a lot of times they taunt the police because they want to get caught, because they want the recognition. But like, if you didn't do it, everybody's gonna hate you. Why would you?
Some people just want to be hated. Maybe they think it'll get them more ladies in bed. I don't know. Humans are weird.
Yeah, bears aren't.
Animals are innocent.
So Thomas Milbank was arrested and tried at Lambeth Street Court. Milbank had been wearing white overalls and a great coat, and he dropped them outside the house, and he had also dropped a candle. He escaped conviction only because Jane Alsop insisted her attacker had breathed fire.
I love this.
And Milbank said that he couldn't do that.
Oh my gosh.
Even if he could, he'd just go, no, I can't do it. Sorry,
Right.
can't do it.
Sorry.
Just,
You can't prove that I can breathe fire.
Like-
You have a candle, that's proof enough.
I'm just imagining in court Jane Alsop being like, well, he's not breathing fire. This can't be the right guy. And they're like, sir, can you breathe fire? No, I can't do that. And they're just like, all right, you're free to go.
in fairness to Jane, if someone ran up to me breathing fire, that's probably the one thing that I'd remember about them too.
True.
Yeah.
But they're like, he gets let go and he's just like breathing fire, laughing as he's walking
Runs
out of the court.
yeah. Jumps over the court with a big ball of fire.
Oh, man.
The big ball of fire.
So after these incidents, Spring-Heeled Jack he was like super popular, like
Popular.
bigger than Uncle Sam's nipples.
Oh.
I don't know.
I mean, those are pretty big. Everyone's always, yeah, well, I'm not going to make that joke.
His alleged exploits were reported in newspapers and like became the subject of several penny dreadfuls and plays that were performed in cheap theaters. In some already written plays and whatnot, the devil character was renamed as Spring-Heeled Jack, just to profit off of this hysteria and the popularity of it.
Fair.
And as recounted by Henry Mayhew in his London Labour and the London Poor, he said, and this is where I need you to read that, like, because I do a really shitty British accent, and like this is the part where I would do that.
I need to hear that. Come on.
Well, now I'm just going to be mimicking yours.
That's true. That's true.
And like normally I would do the shitty British accent, but since we have you here,
That's
if
true.
you could please read what I typed there.
This here is Satan. We might say the devil, but that ain't right. And gentlefolks don't like such words. He is now commonly called Spring-Heeled Jack or the Rosian Bear. That's since the war. I feel like I was on an audition for a moment. Did I get the part?
Congratulations!
Yes.
You get the part of the constable. That's what they're called, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll go that.
We'll go with
man.
that.
Even as the more popular it got, the sightings of him actually started becoming less frequent, although they were becoming more like widespread. However, in 1843, a wave of sightings swept the country again. There was a report from Northamptonshire describing him as the very image of the devil himself with horns and eyes of flame. In East Anglia, reports of attacks on drivers of mail coaches became really common. In July 1847, a Spring Hill Jack investigation in Teignmouth, Devon, led to one Captain Finch being convicted of 2 charges of assault against women, during which he is said to have been disguised in a skin coat, which had the appearance of bullock's hide, skull cap, horns, and a mask. What is a skin coat?
A skin coat.
He couldn't breathe either, so it wasn't him.
Yeah, he was let go because he said that he couldn't breathe.
I don't know what a skin coat is, by the way. That just went really Leatherface out of nowhere.
Yeah, I imagine first you gotta catch someone, and then you gotta sedate them, and then you got to skin them. And that's how you make a skin coat.
So in the beginning of the 1870s, Spring Hill Jack was reported again in several places, all very distant from each other. In November 1872, the News of the World reported that Peckham was, quote, in a state of commotion owing to what is known as the Peckham ghost. A mysterious, which is a mysterious figure, quite alarming in appearance. But see, I mean, I feel like quite alarming in appearance could be anything. I mean,
He could be a bear.
He could be a bear. That's pretty alarming considering there's no bears in the UK, apparently.
That would be very alarming.
Yeah, he could be Guy Fawkes.
I just imagine that, like, when we get done here, you're going to walk outside and there'll just be a bear sitting outside here.
No.
Ah, shit, I was wrong.
Anonymous have sent me a bear.
Yeah. Good luck taming this.
We're laughing, but I'm constantly checking out my window now. I'm really scared.
I don't think they can hear into like this little podcast. Not yet, anyway.
The editorial pointed out that it had to be Spring Hill Jack. Similar stories were published in the Illustrated Police News. And then in May of 1873, Illustrated Police News reported that there were a bunch of sightings in Sheffield of the, quote, park ghost, which locals also claimed to identify as Spring Hill Jack.
I can add something to you there. Sheffield, my geography is really coming into, it's really showing now. Sheffield's like really, really north. So these two, we're talking opposite ends of the countries now. That's how widespread this is. Literally the opposite end.
Yeah. Well, like in the beginning, like I said, there were sightings eventually as far as like Scotland.
Yeah.
So this was reported, or this was followed by more reported sightings until in August 1877, one of the most notable reports about Spring Hill Jack came from a group of soldiers in Aldershot's barracks. And this is like, the story goes as follows.
He invaded the barracks.
Apparently. The story goes as follows. There was a sentry on duty at the North Camp, and he was peering into the darkness. His attention was attracted by a peculiar figure advancing towards him. The soldier issued a challenge, which went unheeded, and the figure came up beside him and delivered several slaps to his face.
That's the most British thing ever. He challenged him to a duel with the bear.
Oh gosh, yeah.
The guard shot at him, had no visible effect, and some sources claim that the soldier may have fired blanks at him. Others said that he just missed or he was firing warning shots, and then the strange figure disappeared into the surrounding darkness with, quote, astonishing bounds. But yeah, the slaps to the face is the part that sticks out the most.
I think it's literally just like his bunkmates deciding to play a prank on him. Like, that's something that, like, my brother would do.
Do you guys get South Park over there?
Yep.
Have you seen the High School Musical parody one? With the kid that wants to be in theater, but his dad wants him to play basketball. No. His dad's very effeminate. Okay, well, so his dad's very effeminate.
Yeah.
And, like, he's obviously gay. And, like, his dad wants him to play... Or no, he wants to play basketball, but his dad's like, no, you're going to be in musicals. It's the opposite, is what it is. And, like, this slaps to the face reminds me of a bit in that episode where like he's always threatening to slap people because he's like, I swear to God, I'll slap the shit right out of you. I'll just slap you right in your face if you don't believe me. Just test me. I'll do it. I'll slap you. And that's what this is. Just like, just walks out. He's like, I'm gonna slap the shit out of you. Slap, 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 slap. And he just runs off.
Oh gosh, that's like a Jordan Peele bit. Yeah, Jordan Peele bit. I can't word.
I can't word.
Yeah. Oh, I haven't seen much South Park.
Who slapped who in that instance? Was it Jack slapping? Sorry.
Yeah, Jack was slapping the soldier.
Yeah.
Did he not feel the claws?
This one doesn't say that he had claws. It just says that he issued a challenge. The challenge went unheeded, and then the figure came right up to him, slapped him several times. Another guard shot at him, and he ran off.
Another guard shot. Oh, okay, that makes sense then. That makes more sense.
Okay, so a different guard shot his blanks. Okay.
Oh yeah, I guess I did say the guard. This says a guard shot at him. So
I thought that he was firing like warning shots and that. I don't know why you would do that if someone was close enough to slap you in the face, unless he had like Stretch Armstrong arms. I don't know why.
Right, it's the same guard getting slapped, and he's like, instead of killing this person who's assaulting me, I'll just fire a couple warning shots.
Stop it!
I fired a warning shot. I fired a warning shot into him 10 times.
He sounds like a guard that's just got a really bad aim, and he just kept missing. He just went, guys, that is a warning shot on it.
He went to Stormtrooper Academy.
In Lord Ernest Hamilton's 1922 memoir, 40 Years On, he mentioned the appearance at Aldershot of Spring Hill Jack. However, he says that they occurred in the winter of 1879 after his regiment, the 60th Rifles, had moved to Aldershot, which was erroneous. And that similar appearances had occurred when the regiment was barracked at Colchester in the winter of 1878. He added that the panic became so great at Aldershot that sentries were issued ammunition in order to shoot, quote, the night terror on sight.
Nice.
Following which the appearances ceased, which leads credence to the prank theory, because it's like, oh shit, we're gonna get shot at if we don't stop doing this shit.
Why was that the bit that stopped them though? They'd already done quite a bit to that point. I mean, we've already alluded to the fact that he raped women.
True.
So he's got up to quite a bit at this point. So maybe, again, he's just scared of men, because this is the first... apart from that one instance we had with the gardener...
this might have been a copycat, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because it actually says that Hamilton thought that this was actually pranks carried out by one of his fellow officers, a Lieutenant Alfred, which apparently there's no record of Alfred being ever court-martialed for the offense, so apparently they couldn't prove it.
Damn that Alfred, he's such a cad.
It does make sense, though, because like he didn't really try to hurt any of the guards. He just like was trying to scare him. And as soon as they said shoot him on sight, it stopped happening.
If I was going to play a prank on someone, I think possibly the last place on earth I'd go to do it is army barracks.
Right.
I mean, honestly, that's just asking for trouble.
Yeah,
Right.
Pranking 101, you don't go to a place where you could get shot.
Yeah.
Then in autumn of 1877, Spring Hill Jack was reportedly seen at Newport Arch in Lincolnshire, wearing a sheepskin. What is with this dude? And again...
We have sheep. We have sheep. Lots of them. He could get those.
He didn't have to raid the local zoo to get one.
No.
Well, I'm just imagining that it's not even him. It's just these people who are seeing animals and going, "Oh my God, it's Spring Hill Jack! He was wearing a sheepskin this time." Or, "Oh my God, there he is! He's wearing my sister's skin."
I love the fact that this was... that's a brilliant impression, by the way. I love the fact that this is... did you say 77 at this point?
Yeah.
Didn't the first attack happen in 37? So for the last 40 years, people have just been seeing animals and going, "Oh, fuck me, it's Jack again. Oh, no."
Yeah, more or less.
No matter what happened, it was Jack.
They go to the police. Yes, I'd like to report a sighting of Spring Hill Jack. Oh, great. What did he look like this time? He looked like my neighbor's cat.
Are you sure it wasn't neighbour's cat? Well, I can't be certain. I think it was Jack.
I can't be certain. I did kill him. And then they just hold up the cat, like slap it down on the desk.
It was the cat. I couldn't help it, officer. It was self-defense. The cat just leapt out at me from like a back alley. I don't know what to do.
Turns out that the cat was just like digging up their back garden or something. This is their way of getting rid of it.
I mean, have you ever met a cat?
I've got a cat. See, we have those as well.
Dan, have you ever actually seen a cat? Come on, we know you don't have those in the UK. Come on.
Never. No, you mention it. I've never come across one. I think it's a kangaroo that we've got now. I think of it. By the way,
obviously,
I think I've come up with what happened during this time. This 40 years, I think the UK is guilty of having the laziest police force of all time, and everything that was reported, the police just said, "Don't worry about it, Jack."
So where were we? The sheep.
The strangest place ever to pick up from, but yeah, let's go.
An angry mom supposedly chased him and cornered him. The sheep, and just as
got an image of them chasing a sheep through the streets.
Get him!
Just a random sheep just running through the streets.
It's a poor frightened sheep.
Just as an Aldershot, residents fired at him had no effect. And as usual, he was said to have made use of his leaping abilities to lose the crowd and disappear.
There was no reaction because it was a sheep.
It was just a sheep.
Why is that a sheep not reacting? Maybe because it's a sheep? I don't know.
I think by no reaction or no effect, they mean that it didn't hurt him.
Okay.
But that's a lot funnier.
I thought they expected the sheep to go, okay, I'm him. Oh, God.
They start firing at it, and the sheep's just like, you got me.
Oh, God. I'm sorry.
So we're going to go ahead and get into theories. Now, first off, we have the regular theories. Nobody was ever actually caught and identified as Spring-Heeled Jack due to his extraordinary abilities. Nobody could catch him. And the fact that he was just an animal.
Specifically a sheep, not even a bear.
We didn't catch him, but there was a pretty suspicious sheep involved.
We chased him all over town. He didn't react to any of the shots we fired at him.
No, have you seen a sheep's eyes? They are rectangles. Obviously, it's the work of the devil.
I thought they were... No, that's goats. Never mind.
Goats.
Do sheep not have goat eyes?
I don't think so.
You might be offending your sheep listeners there.
Hold on a sec. I gotta Google this now.
Okay, well, while you're going, I'm going to keep going. Skeptical investigators have dismissed the stories completely as just being like mass hysteria around stories of like a bogeyman or a devil, you know, and they just attribute it to like urban legends about a man who clambered over rooftops claiming to be the devil. So other researchers believe that some individuals may have been behind its origins, being, you know, and then copycats later on.
Yeah.
He was widely determined to not be a supernatural creature, but rather that there were like multiple people with a macabre sense of humor that were doing this. And this actually matches the contents of the letter to the Lord Mayor that we mentioned at the beginning, which accused a group of young aristocrats as the culprits after like an irresponsible bet had been made.
The kind of guys who would be in a fraternity if they existed.
Right, or in
which
some
they
kind
don't.
of secret society.
Yeah. The Masons at it again.
There are groups and types. There's some groups in universities, but they're not like anywhere near what you would imagine fraternities. They're nothing like that at all.
Yeah. Fraternities are much more organized.
Oh, much more fun.
You know, I actually had a roommate in my dorm at uni, and she was never in the dorm because first she was dating a guy on the same floor and slept in his room, and then she was dating a guy in a fraternity and slept in the fraternity. So that's always fun.
Where were we at? This is neither here nor there, but I just like, it makes me laugh. There was a popular rumor that was circulating around 1840 that said that it was an Irish nobleman, the Marquess of Waterford, because he apparently had really bad experiences with women and police officers.
Uh-huh.
And like, this is
specifically women police officers.
Right? This is funny to me because it's like the only reason that he started doing this shit is because he was like, man, that bitch left me for my brother and that cop fucking arrested me for being drunk and disorderly. I'm gonna go scare the shit out of some people.
I'm gonna start breathing fire, and then you guys are fucked.
Yeah, it's just like the olden day incels.
The Marquess was acquitted because he could not breathe fire. So, did you figure out what you were Googling? I can't remember what you were Googling.
Oh yeah, sheep eyes are rectangular, and as are goats. And we found that the eyes of goats, deer, horses, and sheep rotate as they bend their head down to eat, keeping their pupil aligned with the ground. So, that's weird. It's called cyclovergence.
That right there is something that could be the topic of a episode.
Sheep eyes, what's up with that?
So, more paranormal stuff is, like, there were a variety of extremely speculative paranormal explanations proposed to explain Spring Heel Jack.
Oh yeah.
As usual, I have to honorary mention aliens.
It was
because
I don't know why we're inputting this up to debate. It was aliens.
this whole time Dan's just been like, I know it's aliens, why are we even doing this?
Oh, the answer to every one of your episodes, it's aliens. I'm sorry to tell everyone, but just it is.
It's always
it's there's always, it doesn't matter what the mystery is, somebody always goes, oh, it was aliens. So the extraterrestrial swing here, the reason they believed this was that they had, because of the red eyes, they had reflective eyes and phosphorus breath, which allowed them to breathe fire, and then the superhuman agility deriving from living in a high-gravity planet. Yeah. They also believed that he might have been a demon, accidentally or purposefully summoned into this world by practitioners of the occult. How do you accidentally summon a demon?
Oh, I've done it. We've all been there. Don't act like you've never done it. We've all just had a few too many drinks and all of a sudden you wake up and there's a demon in your living room. It happens all the time.
Yeah, you have like a few wines and you're looking through your grandmother's old like cookbooks and everything, and you decide, hey, why don't we try baking a cake with this little design on it? And then somebody cuts their finger on like the cooking knife, and then there's blood everywhere, and boom, demons.
That's
It happens all the time.
Somewhere in the middle, somebody got way too drunk and started speaking Latin.
Yeah, speaking in tongues. Classic possession. It's normal.
So, some people suggested that he was in a category named Phantom Attackers. Another well-known example of this would be the Mad Gasser of Mattoon.
What?
I don't know.
That's another topic for another video. What is that?
But typically Phantom Attackers appear to be human and may be perceived as prosaic criminals, but they also display extraordinary abilities and cannot be caught by authorities. Like, specifically cannot be caught by authorities. Like, some little boy grabs his leg, gotcha! Ah, he's not a police officer. This sheep just caught me!
Gets cornered by just like a herd of sheep. You're ruining our good name.
Victims commonly experience the attack in their bedrooms, their homes, or other seemingly secure enclosures. And they may report that they were pinned or paralyzed, or, on the other hand, describe a, quote, siege in which they fought off a persistent intruder or intruders. A lot of these can be explained psychologically, most notably like the old hag phenomenon, recorded in folklore and recognized by psychologists as like a hallucination. And in the most problematic cases, an attack is witnessed by several people and substantiated by some physical evidence, but the attackers can't be verified to even exist. So, that's one theory, is phantom attackers. And
Okay.
That's
That or the police were just lazy.
Yeah.
that's what I'm going with.
It's just like, well, I don't know what to do. You got demons attacking you and cocaine in your blood, so.
Cocaine's not a hallucinogenic, though.
I don't know. Let's do opium about it. It'll be fine. This is medicine, right?
So, and this isn't necessarily a theory, but there was a similar figure known as Pirak, the Springman of Prague. Yeah. He was reported to have been seen in Czechoslovakia around 1939 to 1945, and he had a close resemblance to Spring-Heeled Jack. Like, he could jump really high. And
What years, sorry?
1939 to 1945.
Oh, that's convenient. There's quite a lot going on at that period.
Yeah.
Yeah? Yes,
Wait.
one might imagine.
It was a guy that couldn't be bothered to sign up. I've solved it. I'm just letting you know.
What was going on during that period that could have been happening in Prague?
I wonder.
The stories of Perak provide a useful example of how the traits of Spring-Heeled Jack might have a broad cultural resonance in lots of old urban folklore. And he went on to become a folklore hero, starred in several animated superhero cartoons, fighting the SS.
Nice. Spring-Heeled Jack does a great heel face turn. Read all about it.
The earliest of which is, I can't read this language, but it roughly translates to Springman of the SS in 1946. So that's all the information we have about Spring-Heeled Jack, which means it is now time to solve this. Dan, as our guest, we'll let you go first. Tell us what's going on.
Thank you. Aliens.
All right,
Boom.
Cassandra.
There you go. No, I think up until the point where I was actually looking at all these stories, I thought that it was just going to be people, pranksters, like the UK's version of fraternities, people congregating and doing unholy things. But your theory actually got me thinking. They specified multiple times blue flames. That implies that there's a substance involved. I think that it was still a person originally doing all these, because only in a few of the stories is a flames actually mentioned, only a handful anyway. So I think there is obviously one Spring-Heeled Jack, and I think it's that one where all flames are involved, but the rest are probably copycats. But I do think, I don't know, it's probably someone in some like man-made suit or whatever with the metallic claws and this corset of steel or whatever it is under this.
Did you say his corset of steel?
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't remember ever mentioning that, but okay.
A steel corset. That's how he resists all the bullets.
That came out of my mind, not your words, so apologies. But
See, that would make such a beautiful battle ball gown, though.
oh,
a
yes,
corset of steel.
definitely. In fact, I'm patenting that now. No one can
Anyone who
ever bring
uses
that
a corset of steel
Yeah.
has to pay you a royalty.
Definitely. But no, I think at first I thought it was all going to be absolutely nonsense, and it was going to be multiple people pulling pranks. But this isn't a joke. You've genuinely made me think that someone was actually using a substance, especially if your candle theory. He asked for a candle specifically.
Yeah, like, he specifically asked for a candle, and like in every situation where they mention him breathing fire,
Yeah.
he had some sort of flame.
Yeah. So he could easily just spit something that's
Flammable.
yeah, I don't know why I couldn't think of the word flammable, especially when I'm talking about fire. But yeah.
Alcohol's pretty flammable.
I believe it was in Cassandra's first episode. It took me 3 minutes to think of the word stone, because we were talking about the commandments and the stone tablets.
Oh, gosh.
And I could not think of the word stone. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Okay. The ones with flames, that's 100% the Springfield Jack, The Simpsons.
Yeah,
Springfield
Springfield Jack.
But a majority of the others were just copycats.
Okay.
And the sheep was innocent in all this. He's the real victim, not those women. The sheep. He was the real victim in this. Having shots fired at him.
Being shot at, chased through town.
Yeah. By a mob. To quote them, a mob.
Yeah, by a mob.
Chasing one single sheep.
It actually happened in Ireland during the potato famine. They saw a sheep and they were just like, shit! We're all hungry.
Shit, a sheep. We can eat that.
Cassandra, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's probably the most reasonable explanation, but I also like the idea of just a whole bunch of demons having the same idea, except they got summoned here and now they're stuck and they don't know what to do. And so they just decide, we'll just possess a bunch of sheep.
Like they all got summoned at the same time or something, and one of them was just like, all right, guys, since we can't go anywhere, here's what we're going to do.
Yeah. We're going to pretend to be humans most of the time. Sometimes we'll possess sheep. I heard there are bears in the local zoo. Oh, you got to get one of those. They just went, oh,
that'll really freak them out because they don't see bears very often.
That's the thing I forgot to even address. I have no clue. I could spend hours here. I don't know where the bear comes into it. I have no idea. Maybe he's just a really flamboyant guy that could jump really high. To be honest, he sounds talented. He's wasted doing what he's doing. He really is.
Yeah.
A very talented bear.
Honestly,
a very talented bear. Like, he deserves all the kayaks.
I feel like that was literally just like the gardener got spooked by some kind of animal, and when he reported it, it got twisted, and like, I don't know, they were like, well, could it have been Spring-Heeled Jack? Like, animal skin? And they're like, well, maybe, and
All right, write down Spring-Heeled Jack. We don't have to investigate this one.
Is that what we're calling him now? Just Spring-Heeled Jack?
Yeah.
Are you going with the theory that it's demons?
It's demons, Jim.
Or is that just something that you find funny?
I mean, I really do find that hilarious, but probably it was down to pranksters, copycats, lazy police.
I can add something there. There's I just googled it whilst we were looking. To say that I said bears are no longer here. I didn't say they've never been here. Bears were in the UK up until the Middle Ages. Now, I know that's long before when Spring-Heeled Jack was around. But who knows? It just adds weight to the theory that maybe a bear was knocking around.
Bears are extinct.
Yeah, maybe there's some still, like endangered almost, hanging around. I think we're all in agreement that it was the original attacks were one guy. I do believe that it was maybe an ex sideshow worker who was able to breathe fire with flammable substance, and then copycats. And I believe that the Aldershot was someone at the base playing pranks, because again, as soon as the order to shoot on sight was issued, the appearances stopped. Yeah. And there's no way that, if it's an outside person, there's no way he would have known that order was issued. So it had to have been somebody in the barracks.
Yeah.
So, but I think we have solved this one, gang. And any other thoughts before we do the outro and get out of here?
Nope. I'm happy with what we've said.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. We want to thank Dan again for joining us today.
Absolute. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've really enjoyed it.
Had a lot of fun with this episode.
Well, if you'll allow me, I'd love to come back at some point, and I'm sure that maybe we could do something further down the line. As I said, I love your concept in terms of what you do, and you've got some good episodes out there, so it's all good. Enjoyed it. It's fine.
Definitely recommend that you go check out Dan's YouTube. That's Hey Dinpy, DINPY. Subscribe, smash that follow button, whatever it is all YouTubers say. Where else can people find you, Dan?
Majority of my content going forward is going to be through YouTube. If you want, I give regular updates in terms of what I'm doing and in terms of content on my Twitter. So if you want to check that out, that's always my go-to place. But who couldn't do the few more followers on Instagram? So if you want to check me out, I'm not going to stop you following me there.
And what are I know on Twitter you're at Hey Dinpy.
Yep.
Is it the same for Instagram?
Mine again is Hey Dinpy. Yep.
Okay. Sounds good. In the meantime, as usual, if you have a mystery you want us to solve right here on the podcast, you can send that or any other comments to mysteriessolvedpodcast, all one word, at gmail.com. You can also reach us on Facebook at Unsolved Mysteries Solved, on Twitter at UMS_podcast, or on the brand new Facebook group or Discord server. And remember, guys, don't question us or you will be put down. Thanks again for listening, guys, and we'll catch you right back here next week with a brand new mystery.
Bye, guys.
Boy.
Shut up, guys. This is why I don't do these things in person.